So welcome to day 9. This is the final day in Iceland. And today we're going on a tour. So we're being driven today for a change instead of driving everywhere.
So we took the Golden Circle Culinary tour. Having pretty much done a self-guided tour of Iceland, we thought it was important to at least do one organized tour and get a better feel of Iceland and Icelanders themselves. And because we were camping and not really eating out that much, we thought it was a good idea as well to do a culinary tour, so at least we could get an idea of, how what Icelanders like to eat and so on. So we did the Golden Circle Culinary tour. It was a very long tour. It ended up being about
10 hours.
10 hours, yeah. So it was a bit long, but it was definitely worth it. And this was one of those days that we had bright sunshine, blue skies. It was a lovely day. There were some points of it where it was actually a bit warm. Mm-hmm. The entire tour was done on an air-conditioned coach with one tour guide. So our first stop was
Þingvellir National Park. At Þingvellir Park, there are a couple of things that we saw. So first of all, they showed you the tectonic plates, and this is the only place in the world where two tectonic plates meet above ground and are pulling apart. So in Iceland you have the Eurasian plate and the North American plate, and they're pulling themselves apart around an average of about 20 centimeters a year. Also in Þingvellir Park is the site of their first parliament. And then also a little further along, we took a drive to a lake, and this lake is as a result of one of the glaciers melting, and the water comes through an underground channel and is fed straight into this lake. So you can actually go to the lake and you can drink the water. It's so pure.
It's said to be, I think, some of the purest water you can have. Because of the uniqueness of the area, it's got its own ecosystem. The plants inside the water they're unique. It's not like anything you've seen before, and we can confirm that the water tastes absolutely amazing.
And then from there, our next stop was Efstidalur Farm.
So this is an organic farm, and they do farm to table there. So we had our lunch there, and everything was produced at the farm, made at the farm, or the surrounding areas where they would trade with their neighbors for the ingredients. So everything tasted absolutely amazing.
Very fresh.
Very fresh. And then at the end of it, we had ice cream that was also made at the farm. So that was a very tasty stop.
Yep, that was your lunch stop.
That was your lunch stop. So then from there we made our way to Gullfoss, which was another beautiful waterfall.
Also known as the Golden Waterfall.
What I will say about this day is for most of the trip, you would see other visitors to Iceland, other tourists. But within the Golden Circle itself, I guess because it's a bit more popular, it's when you started to get a lot more crowds than what we have been used to. So at Gullfoss, there were
so much people.
Yeah, there were quite a few people, and again, we went sort of at the start of the season, so I can only imagine what it's like, in July and August. There were people everywhere, so it took a bit of time to walk down around the waterfall just because of the crowds.
And then from there we went to Geysir. There were multiple geysers called Geysir, but there is one that erupts with somewhat regularity. So I would say maybe every 5 minutes. Yeah, between 5 to 8 minutes or so, you get a really nice eruption.
It's a lot of fun waiting there because there's that anticipation. It's something and then it really happens very suddenly. And it's this massive eruption, and then all of a sudden the water just disappears back in the hole, and then it starts all over again. The area around that geysir is cordoned off, but there is a splash zone. So we were a little bit cautious because we weren't sure how hot the water would be that was gonna come off of the geysir. But it was, that was a really cool experience.
Yeah, and also in that area as well, because of the geothermal activity, you had the same sulfur smell.
Yes, but not as bad
as Lake Mývatn.
No, not at all.
Then after leaving Geysir, we made our way over to the Fridheimar tomato farm. And this was really interesting because they do all of their tomatoes, and it's all done with hydroponics. And there you got to sample different methods of using different tomatoes. So they had tomato jelly, green tomatoes, red tomatoes.
They had
tomato jam, tomato chutney,
to make different tomato juices. I know we're saying tomato all the time, but everything tasted different, and it was very interesting to see the different ways that you can prepare it.
And it looks as though there is a restaurant there, so they had a lot of people eating tomato.
And the thing about Iceland is, again, because of the harsh environment, not a lot of stuff grows there, so they do have to they import most of their stuff, but where they can, like at this farm, it's a greenhouse where they grow everything, and they use the geothermal energy to pretty much run the greenhouse, which is really, really good.
Yeah, it's a lot of technology behind it.
Oh, and also at this tomato farm, we saw the largest sunflowers. They were literally as big as my head. It was pretty funny.
And then from there we made our way to some turf houses. So these are houses that you kind of see again dotted around Iceland. So it looks as though it's a house built into the side of a little hill, and it looks as though it's made of grass.
Yeah. When we were driving around Iceland, we saw them, but we were like, what the heck is that? So this tour then explained the history behind the turf houses. What's happened now as Iceland has become more modern.
The turf houses are seen as a sign of poverty.
Or being backwards, or...
Yeah.
So it's something that Icelanders are moving away from. So the farm that we visited, the owners, that house had been in their family for generations, and they're doing what they can to maintain the house and also to pass on the methods used to build turf houses to other people. So while we were there were a group of students from the US who had come down to learn about the turf houses. So at the turf house, we learned quite a bit about the history of Iceland and what hardy people Icelanders are. At the end of that portion of the trip, we also had some Icelandic tea. So we had tea that was specially brewed by the owner of the house, as well as various Icelandic treats. We had Icelandic pancakes, little pastries. Everything was really, really good.
Got back to our hotel almost around 7 o'clock. So another really, really long day. But it was so worth it, and I think it was a nice end to our trip.
So once again, we cannot reiterate enough how much we enjoyed Iceland. It lives up to everything you've heard, and if you have the opportunity to go, seize it, go, it's worth it.